Afternoon. This is Akashvani. I'm Anuja Kumar with the midday news. The headlines. Voting underway for assembly elections in Telangana. Prime Minister Narendra Modi says resolution of developed India rests on four Amrit pillars of women, youth, farmers and poor people. Interacts with beneficiaries of central welfare schemes under the ongoing Viksit Bharat Sankalp Yatra. India's G20 Presidency revitalised multilateralism, amplified Global South's voice and championed inclusive development, asserts Prime Minister. COP28 Summit begins in Dubai with calls for accelerated action and higher ambition against escalating climate crisis. And Israel and Palestinian terror group Hamas agree to extend pause in fighting by another day. And now the news in detail. In Telangana, voting is underway peacefully for the assembly elections. Polling is taking place on all 119 assembly seats in the state. Voting began at 7 a.m. and will conclude at 5 in the evening. The polling will come to an end by 4 p.m. at 13 left-wing extremism-affected constituencies. Over 36% voter turnout was recorded till 1 p.m. A total of 2,290 candidates are in the fray. Telangana is witnessing a triangular battle between the ruling Bharat Rashtra Samiti or BRS led by Chief Minister K. Chandrasekhar Rao, Congress and Bharatiya Janata Party. Now we go over live to our correspondent Lakshmi, who is in Hyderabad. Lakshmi, how is the polling progressing there?
Anuja, the polling is so far peaceful and underway smoothly, though there were some stray instances where technical snags reported from a few places like Suryapet. They have been immediately rectified and polling took off. If you go by figures, the districts, especially in remote areas, are reporting brisk polling while it is low in Hyderabad. However, hopefully it may gain as the day progresses. Most of the Hyderabad city wore a deserted look except at polling stations as a holiday declared under provisions of labour laws and shops and establishments. IT sector also has been impressed to give a holiday to its employees to cast their vote. Besides, several people left for their hometowns in the state for casting their vote. Anuja.
Lakshmi, can you please tell us about some prominent candidates who have exercised their franchise so far?
Anuja, Chief Minister K. Chandrasekhar Rao along with his family cast his vote at Chintamadaka in Gazwel constituency. BRS Working President Tarak Ramarao cast his vote in Hyderabad. PCC President Revanth Reddy exercised his franchise at Kodangal, whereas former PCC President Uttam Kumar Reddy, who is contesting in Huzur Nagar, cast his vote in Kodad constituency. Union Tourism Minister G. Kishan Reddy cast his vote in Amberpet in Hyderabad. Telangana Chief Electoral Officer Vikas Ras utilized his vote in Sanatnagar constituency in Hyderabad. MIM President Asaduddin Owaisi exercised his franchise in Rajendra Nagar constituency. Anuja.
Thank you, Lakshmi, for this update. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has urged the people of Telangana to exercise their franchise and strengthen the Indian democracy. In a social media post, Mr. Modi particularly urged the young and first-time voters to exercise their franchise. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has said that the resolution of a developed India rests on four Amrit pillars, which include women, youth, farmers and poor families. Mr. Modi said now the country has determined to become a developed nation by 2047 and is making all efforts to fulfill this dream. He said upliftment of women, youth, farmers and poor will make the country a developed one. The Prime Minister was speaking after interacting with beneficiaries of central government's welfare schemes virtually under the nationwide outreach program Viksit Bharat Sankalp Yatra.
विकसित भारत का संकल्प 4 अमृत स्तंभों पर मजबूती के साथ टिका है। ये अमृत स्तंभ कौन से हैं? इसी पर हमें ध्यान केंद्रित करना है। एक अमृत स्तंभ है हमारी नारी शक्ति, दूसरा अमृत स्तंभ है हमारी युवा शक्ति, तीसरा अमृत स्तंभ है हमारे किसान भाई बहन, चौथी अमृत शक्ति है हमारा गरीब परिवार। मेरे लिए देश की सबसे बड़ी 4 जातियां हैं। इन 4 जातियों का उत्थान ही भारत को विकसित बनाएगा।
The Prime Minister said Viksit Bharat Sankalp Yatra was launched on 15th of this month from Jharkhand, and it aims to extend the government flagship schemes and services to those who have been left out till now.
आज विकसित भारत संकल्प यात्रा के 15 दिन पूरे हो रहे हैं और इन 15 दिनों में ही मुझे कई लोगों ने कहा कि अब तो लोगों ने इसका नाम ही बदल दिया है। सरकार ने जब निकाला तब तो यह कहा था कि विकास रथ है, लेकिन अब लोग कहने लगे हैं रथवत नहीं है, ये तो मोदी की गारंटी की वाली गाड़ी है। मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगा ये सुनकर के आपका इतना भरोसा है और अब तक 12,000 से ज्यादा पंचायतों तक एक मोदी की गारंटी वाली गाड़ी पहुंच चुकी है। करीब करीब 30 लाख लोग उसका फायदा उठा चुके हैं।
The Prime Minister said government is working tirelessly to provide free food grains, medicines and basic amenities to take the country forward.
मुझे आपको ये जानकारी देते हुए भी खुशी है कि गरीब कल्याण अन्न योजना हमने एक सेवा का काम शुरू किया और उसके कारण मैंने देखा है परिवारों के काफी पैसे बच रहे हैं, अच्छे काम में खर्च हो रहे हैं। ये देखते हुए कल ही हमारी कैबिनेट ने निर्णय कर लिया है कि अब ये जो मुफ्त राशन देने वाली योजना है उसको 5 साल के लिए आगे बढ़ाया जाएगा और आपका जो पैसा बचेगा ना वो जनधन अकाउंट में जमा कीजिए और उससे फिर बच्चों के भविष्य के लिए उसका उपयोग कीजिए।
On this occasion, the Prime Minister also launched the Drone Didi scheme. Terming the scheme Namo Drone Didi, Mr. Modi said under the initiative, drones will be provided to 15,000 women self-help groups so that this technology can be used by them in agriculture sector.
बहनों को ड्रोन पायलट की ट्रेनिंग दी जाएगी। सेल्फ हेल्प ग्रुप्स के माध्यम से बहनों को आत्मनिर्भर बनाने का जो अभियान चल रहा है वो भी ड्रोन ऊर्जा से सशक्त होगा। इससे बहनों बेटियों को कमाई का अतिरिक्त साधन मिलेगा और मेरा जो सपना है ना 2 करोड़ दीदी को मुझे लखपति बनाना है और मुझे पक्का विश्वास है इससे देश के किसानों को बहुत कम कीमत में ड्रोन जैसी आधुनिक टेक्नोलॉजी मिल पाएगी।
During the program, the Prime Minister also dedicated the 10,000th Jan Aushadhi Kendra at AIIMS Deoghar. The Prime Minister also launched the program to increase the number of Jan Aushadhi Kendras in the country from 10,000 to 25,000. Viksit Bharat Sankalp Yatra is going on in different parts of the country. Under the Yatra, the Information, Education and Communication or IEC vans with the aim to disseminate information regarding the central flagship welfare programs are reaching every corner of the country. In Maharashtra, Member of Parliament and former Union Minister Dr. Subhash Bhamre launched the Yatra in Dhule district yesterday. IEC vans as part of the Yatra were dispatched to different places in Dhule city and district. During the journey, several beneficiaries shared their success stories. A beneficiary, Sharda Vinod Patil from Dhule, said she started her own business by availing financial assistance under the Prime Minister's self-employment scheme.
मेरा नाम शारदा विनोद पाटिल है। मुझे प्रधानमंत्री स्वनिधि योजना द्वारा 10,000 का कर्ज मिला था। उससे मैंने पार्टनरशिप में सब्जी का व्यवसाय चालू किया। उसके बाद 20,000 का कर्ज मिला। उसमें मैंने किराना स्टॉल डाल मशीन काम चालू किया है। उससे मुझे बहुत फायदा हुआ है और मेरी परिस्थिति पहले से ज्यादा बेहतर हुई है अभी। इससे मैं नरेंद्र मोदी जी और नगर पालिका के सख्त आभारी हूँ।
The Prime Minister will distribute more than 51,000 appointment letters to the newly inducted recruits through video conferencing this afternoon. The Prime Minister will also address the appointees on the occasion. Rozgar Mela will be held at 37 locations across the country. This is Akashvani giving you the news. For quick news updates around the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts. Today is the last day of India's G20 presidency. Brazil will be leading the G20 presidency for the next 1 year from tomorrow. Under India's G20 presidency, the 18th G20 summit successfully concluded in New Delhi in September this year. Several global important issues were discussed by the members of G20 nations during the summit. India took several path-breaking decisions under the leadership of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Prime Minister asserted that India has achieved extraordinary outcomes during its G20 presidency as it revitalised multilateralism, amplified the voice of the Global South, championed inclusive development and fought for the empowerment of women. He said as India hands over the G20 presidency to Brazil, New Delhi does so with the conviction that its collective steps for people, planet, peace and prosperity will resonate for years to come. Mr. Modi stated this in an article published in an English daily today. He underlined that India aimed to remind the world of what unites us rather than what divides us. The Prime Minister said inclusive, ambitious, action-oriented and decisiveness defined India's approach as G20 president, and the New Delhi Leaders' Declaration, unanimously adopted by all G20 members, is a testimony to the commitment to deliver on these principles. He said the declaration underscores the commitment to climate justice and equity, urging substantial financial and technological support from the global north. The 28th session of the Conference of the Parties COP28 to the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change commenced at Dubai in the United Arab Emirates, UAE, today. The annual UN Climate Change Conference, which will continue till the 12th of December, has opened with a resounding call to accelerate collective climate action and higher ambition against the escalating climate crisis. We have a report.
COP28 signifies the conclusion of the inaugural comprehensive global assessment of the Paris Agreement implementation. These assessments, conducted every 5 years, serve to evaluate the collective progress of the world in meeting its climate goals. The focus of the 28th session of this global event is to mobilize international efforts on multiple fronts to address consequences of climate change. This includes ensuring environmental, food and health security, facilitating an effective and fair transition in the energy sector, and securing financing for all parties involved, with a particular emphasis on those supporting the global south. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is scheduled to participate in the World Climate Action Summit tomorrow, underscoring the global commitment to address climate challenges. This is D.V. Vinod Kumar for Akashvani, Dubai.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi will embark on a two-day visit to the UAE today to attend the World Climate Action Summit in Dubai. The summit is the high-level segment of the COP28. Briefing media in New Delhi about the visit, Foreign Secretary Vinay Mohan Kwatra said Mr. Modi will also participate in the 3 high-level side events in Dubai tomorrow.
Honorable Prime Minister will deliver his address at the opening session of the World Climate Action Summit. Besides his address to the COP28, Prime Minister will also be participating in 3 high-level side events, of which 2 are being co-hosted by India. The first high-level event, which is being co-hosted by India and the UAE, is the launch of Green Credits Initiative.
Israel and Palestinian terror group Hamas have agreed to extend the temporary ceasefire in their fighting by at least 1 more day. The announcement made by mediator Qatar came minutes before the 6-day truce was set to expire. Israel's military in a statement said the pause will continue as mediator countries sought to release more hostages held in Gaza by Hamas in exchange for Palestinian prisoners with Israel. Nobel Peace Prize winner and former U.S. Secretary of State Henry Kissinger, who shaped the country's Cold War history, died at the age of 100 at his home in Connecticut yesterday. He worked under 2 presidents and left an indelible mark on the U.S. foreign policy. In Tamil Nadu, the Regional Meteorological Department has predicted more rain in the state for another few days due to the presence of the low pressure in southeast Bay of Bengal. The system is likely to concentrate into a depression and is likely to intensify into a cyclonic storm over southwest Bay of Bengal in a day or 2. Tamil Nadu Chief Minister M.K. Stalin today took stock of the rain situation in the state. And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Voting underway for assembly elections in Telangana. Prime Minister Narendra Modi says resolution of developed India rests on 4 Amrit pillars of women, youth, farmers and poor people, interacts with beneficiaries of central welfare schemes under the ongoing Viksit Bharat Sankalp Yatra. India's G20 presidency revitalised multilateralism, amplified Global South's voice and championed inclusive development, asserts Prime Minister. COP28 Summit begins in Dubai with calls for accelerated action and higher ambition against escalating climate crisis. And Israel and Palestinian terror group Hamas agree to extend pause in fighting by another day. And with that, we end the midday news.